Life is all about struggles. It's how you approach those struggles is what makes who you are when you come out on the other side.
You become a different person.
The work that I put in helped me defy all those odds.
Trusting God was the biggest part.
3, 2, 1, action.
Other kids made it very aware that I was different.
What makes me proud of my culture is
I moved to Marysville when I was 1 year old in 1989, and my parents still live in Marysville in the same house that we moved into back then.
ਜਦੋਂ ਬਲਜਿੰਦਰ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੋਟਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਕੂਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਘਰ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਗੇਮਸ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਨਿੰਟੈਂਡੋ ਗੇਮ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਮਸ਼ਹੂਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੇਡਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ।
Being a family that owned a business, the ice cream truck, early on as a child, it was my responsibility to help my dad every day in the summer to help unload ice cream when we went to Seattle, even ride with him to Seattle twice a week to pick up ice cream loads from the warehouse, unload them into the freezers as soon as possible so they don't melt, and every evening being at home ready to go to help restock the ice cream truck, help count money, count the coins, put them in rollers, straighten out all the dollar bills, line them up, put them in stacks of 100. And that really helped shape my mental capacity of numbers and counting and being organized and having a work ethic that early on. I mean, I started doing that when I was in kindergarten. I started at Allen Creek in 1993. The first year it was open, so I was the first class that got to go from kindergarten all the way through 5th grade, so they considered us the first graduating class of Allen Creek. I started school there as a really excited kid, right? Coming from a home where I didn't really do much, we didn't travel, we didn't do vacations or anything. My outside experience was just playing in the neighborhood. And so now finally getting to go to a school and interact with other kids and be involved, I was really excited to do that. Other kids made it very aware that I was different. That's when the bullying started.
ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਟੀਚਰ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਵੀ ਅੱਜ ਇੱਕ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੇ ਬਲਜਿੰਦਰ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਕੁੱਟਿਆ।
One day I did actually share with a counselor at school what was happening.
ਮੈਂ ਟੀਚਰ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਇਹਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰ।
And they did step in. They came into the classroom and took over and said that this wasn't allowed and we couldn't do this anymore.
ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕੁੱਟਣੋਂ ਹਟੇ।
But it still didn't end it completely. From then on, in 4th grade, I begged my parents to put me in a sport, and the next flyer that came in the mail was for baseball. And so my mom signed me up for baseball, and none of us in the whole family knew how to play baseball. We didn't know the rules, didn't know anything, but still had a great time. Tell you a story, I was up to bat, and I get hit by the ball. And I'm, holding back the tears because baseball hits you in your 4th grade, it hurts. Hit me in the side of the leg, and I'm about to go sit down because I got hit by a ball, and everyone's yelling, saying, no, go to first base. And I said, why are you doing this to me? I just got hit by a ball. I didn't realize that you're supposed to take a free base when you get hit by a ball. And so that was the level of what I didn't know back then. And in practice, coach said anytime you miss a fly ball, you had to run around all 4 fields. This was at Cedar Crest, which the fields still exist over there. So it was a pretty big run, and I was running all practice, every practice. And that's where my cross-country career began. Then switching schools, now going to Marysville Middle School, where it was students from all the other elementary schools in the city. It wasn't all the same kids that I was with. It came back.
ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਮਿਡਲ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਦੋਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਏ ਹੋਏ ਸੀਗੇ।
I would always be playing basketball. The basketball was my passion. I had a little hoop in my front driveway the parents put up for me from my cousin. And so every lunch, I wouldn't even eat lunch. I would just be playing basketball. So I was either playing basketball or I was in a classroom. And even still there, playing basketball, get bullied. I remember this one kid kept throwing rocks at me and then comes over and just punches me in the side of the head. And we get pulled into the vice principal's office. And my concern was, hey, he hit me. I didn't do anything. Can I go back to class? I've got assignments to do. That was my focus and my thought. And the vice principal said, yeah, go ahead. And that's when I remember that moment, I had a realization, like, I think I'm in trouble. This isn't going to be easy.
He was chased around campus.
I didn't know that he was being bullied and harassed and things like that because he was carrying himself with self-confidence.
By the time I got to high school at Marysville-Pilchuck, I started there when I was a sophomore. So I did my freshman year over at Marysville Junior High School, which is now Totem. And by then, I'd found video productions as well. And so I started that in 8th grade. And I got really involved with that my freshman year at the junior high school with Mr. Chapin.
In education, it's always fun to have students that buy into everything. They try everything, they'll give it a shot. And Bal's one of those kids where he showed up every day with a smile on his face, eager to learn, eager to get good at things, no matter what I threw his way.
He was pretty, I don't want to say confident, but when he was in junior high, he was still trying to figure that stuff out. But as he got into high school, you could tell that he was pretty motivated and he was going to be successful at whatever he did.
And from there, at the high school with Mr. Walsh, I was heavily involved in that with all of our productions, our morning talk show, our afternoon show, the sports broadcasts that we did for the games, for the basketball games and wrestling matches in the evenings. And by the time my senior year came around, I was station manager. And between that and all my involvement with sports, I didn't really have time for much else. The bullying subsided quite a bit then. It still was there, but they knew not to, physically pick on me as much. I mean, the words and the making fun of and all that stuff was still there, getting called certain names. And
You and your dad are ruining this country, is what they said. They were literally blaming him, this kid from India, for God knows what, right? For a terrorist attack. Now consider that. Just being bullied, chased around, being told horrible things. Basically, you're not good enough to be here, right? Racist acts. And these two decide to go in front of the whole school and do a traditional dance from the country that they're from. The student body loved it, and they got 3rd place in the whole talent show.
And most of the students in the school knew how heavily involved I was with either sports or video productions or leadership within the school. And there was a shift in it where my teammates would then tell people, hey, don't mess with him. He's on the team with me. Originally in high school, I thought I was going to go into video productions. I thought I was going to be a manager of, Como or King 5 News. I'd organized field trips there with Mr. Walsh, with our whole class. We'd visited their stations and everything. And then I went off to a college program and I learned about dentistry.
ਜਦੋਂ ਬਲਜਿੰਦਰ ਹਾਈ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਣਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਕੈਲੀਫੋਰਨੀਆ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਾਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਯੂਨੀਵਰਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਦ ਪੈਸੀਫਿਕ
I met a couple of dentists who had gone to University of Pacific and they told me about their program there where you can become a dentist within 5 years. 2 years of undergrad and 3 years of dental school. And I was thinking, wait, that sounds really cool. And my passion was I wanted to be able to help people. And so I realized couldn't really accomplish that in video productions. Managing a TV station, yeah, it was cool and it was something that I was doing at the time, but I wanted to help people. I also wanted to have my own business. Being raised in a family, with a business, that I wanted to do more things like that. Dentistry sounded like it was the perfect option. I could help people, I could be a doctor, I could run my own business. I went there for 2 summers after my sophomore year and junior year and took classes on campus and got to know the feel of the school and really enjoyed it. And I applied there, got into their dental program, and I decided not to do the 2 years of undergrad. I wanted to get a bachelor's degree before, so I did 4 years of undergrad. Towards the end of my 3rd year, after interning with dentists every summer, I realized that it wasn't fun. And the story that I tell is no one ever goes to a dentist happy, and no one ever leaves a dentist happy. So I was trying to figure out, what did I want to do? Right? I was looking at, do I want to go to law school? Do I want to, I even looked at becoming an investigator for the FDA. All these different things. And I put my resume and all my prerequisites on gradschools.com. It was an online portal. And one day I got an email saying I had all the prerequisites for chiropractic school. And so I looked into that and applied to one in Texas, Parker. And then I told one of my friends that I was applying to chiropractic school, and she said, why didn't you apply to the one right here in San Jose? Because we were in Stockton, it was only an hour away. I looked into that, applied there as well, and a few more, and got into all the ones that I applied to and interviewed, and made a decision to go to chiropractic school in San Jose and never looked back. I realized then I'd still get to be a doctor, still get to help people, get to run my own business. And people generally, when they go to a chiropractor, they want to go. right? You're in pain and you're hoping to get in, you're hoping to get some relief. You go in smiling, happy because you're going to feel better, and then you leave happy too because you do feel better. And that seemed more in line of what I wanted to do, and I was able to, do so much more with that field. In chiropractic school, the last quarter that you have a clinic. It's called a preceptorship, so you are supposed to go out and find your own doctor in practice and work with them for a whole quarter, and that was part of the program, and then you go back to graduate. And so I was trying to figure out where I wanted to do that, and then I didn't know or didn't realize my mom in the background had been almost begging her chiropractor to allow me to do my internship at his office here in Marysville.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਜਾਣਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ, ਉਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸੀ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਆਪਦੀ ਟ੍ਰੀਟਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ.
And one day she says to me, oh yeah, the doctor that I go to said you can do your internship there. And they said they'll set it all up.
ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਵੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਬੇਟੇ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕਾਇਰੋਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਰ ਦਾ ਕੋਰਸ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ, ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੰਟਰਨਸ਼ਿਪ ਦੇ ਦੇਂਗਾ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਵੀ ਠੀਕ ਆ. ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਉਹ ਕੁਆਟਰ ਕਰਾਇਆ.
That was her master plan to get me to come back to Washington State. From there, when I did my internship here in Marysville, I started to realize that this is the community that I grew up in, that this is the community that I wanted to always be able to serve, right? It's a familiar area, there's a lot that I can do, and it was an underserved community in terms of the healthcare and advanced treatments that I was getting exposed to. That's what brought me back to Marysville. And so I did my 13th quarter in the preceptorship, and then went back to San Jose and graduated, and then came back to Marysville and started interning as a graduate at that office until I was licensed. And then after I was licensed, the doctor encouraged me to go interview wherever I could to see what type of opportunities were out there for me in the area. And that led me to the Bellevue Pain Institute. And so I interviewed there, got offered a position and accepted that, and I got advanced training in neuropathy treatments and non-surgical spinal decompression that are very much needed in this area, and so that was an amazing learning opportunity for me. And the plan was I was going to buy that clinic, and things didn't work out, and so I reached back out to the doctor I interned with in Marysville and asked him if he was willing to sell his clinic, and so we had lunch, and he said, I'm not going to sell, but I'll make you a partner. And so we became partners, and then we integrated the clinic into Symetria, what it is today, with all the medical treatments, and that's where that journey started. And then I got married in 2017, and that was about a year after I started Symetria. And my wife, Dr. Levlene Samergill, she came into the clinic as well. In the beginning, she was volunteering. She has a PhD in health behavior and epidemiology, so she really was passionate about going that route. Her life goal was becoming director of the CDC. And this was something different. And so she said, oh yeah, I'll step in and I'll help you out.
And then I think like a month in, he's like, hey, you've had a lot of background in leading companies, project management, leadership, and organizations, right? And you write protocols really well. Like I have great experience with that grant writing. He's like, I think there's ways for us to like just get support right now for the company, like with leaning on you. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I want to see you win. So whatever I got to do, I'm here for you, like ride or die.
Get there, 8:30 in the morning and be there till about 9 p.m. almost every day. Just trying to get our company off the ground and get it functioning and get it running, and systems and different things in place. We'd be there on the weekends, painting walls, doing construction.
We'd both get so ingrained. And I remember like staying up late at night. It would be like 3, 4, 5 in the morning, and we'd just be going back and forth on the system, this protocol, how to like enhance this differently, how to build a really strong team. And we had to learn how to be leaders and all that. And we have very different leadership styles, and we have very different communication styles.
And having that partner there with you, that was the only way this could be done. And without us supporting each other, this would have been 10 times more difficult.
Working for Dr. Gill and Dr. Samergill as a couple has been great, because they both bring a lot of strengths from both sides. He has more like the numbers and the logic. She has a lot of heart and compassion.
They are probably the only example of a couple that I've seen that can actually work together in a seamless way. They balance each other out perfectly. So whatever Dr. Gill can't do, Dr. SG does, and whatever Dr. SG can't do, Dr. Gill does. So they are just the perfect partners in crime, and they're excellent leaders together.
The message that I would have for people that maybe aren't sure of what you want to do in life, get involved. Be involved in whatever you can, okay? It doesn't matter what it is. It can be band, it can be video productions, it can be leadership, sports, whatever organization. That will teach you life skills, right? Of how to interact with others, how to deal with conflict, how to have structure, how to have discipline. Those skills will correlate into any field later in life, and you'll be set up properly for that.